Hello, this is Bill Webb, aka Billy Indiana. Today I'm going to give you my crowdfunding update, so primarily looking at the games that I either backed or was following in March, and some that have even started here at the beginning of April, and some that I'm looking forward to that are coming later in April. So if you're curious to see what's caught my attention on the crowdfunding platforms, stay tuned. So first off, let me just say that I tend to get most of my information from ShelfClutter or BoardGameCo. So I'll put links to their channels. BoardGameCo, Alex does lots of videos, both looking ahead to a whole month and then each week does a to back or not to back, talking about the value propositions for the things that are on Kickstarter. Does a lot of reviews for Kickstarter and Gamefound projects as well. ShelfClutter does his weekly update giving what is coming this week, and again on both Gamefound and Kickstarter. Often has different contests both here and on his Discord. And if you go to his Discord channel, you can actually see lots of detail about what's coming up. Lots of different publishers put their information there, and Adam organizes it all in his Discord channel. So those are my two primary resources to see what's coming. Now in my videos, I don't do like they do and try to tell you everything I know about. I tell you the things just that I'm interested in. And so a little bit different reason to watch my videos if you're just curious to see what I'm interested in. It's not everything that's coming, it's the one that have caught my eye. So here we go. We're going to start off with one that I backed, and it's not really a game, it's a kind of adjacent, but Joel from Thru Games had a Gamefound project to try to build up some of his technological equipment. And so I loved a lot of his videos, watched a lot of his videos, and so definitely enjoyed just giving a little bit to help provide what he can. He has some hilarious things on here. So Thru Review is my go-to when I'm looking for expert game reviews but can't find any. What Joel's reviews like in production quality, insight, and relevance he makes up for with effort. Who? Yeah, so really funny take that he had here on his project, but definitely glad to back Joel, and hopefully he does well with his project was funded, and hopefully that provides enough for what he needs to upgrade his technology. But look forward to continuing to see the material he puts out. And then the game that I did back was by Game Brewer, and it's Oak. And I'm a Game Brewer subscriber, so I get a discount on the games that they produce, but this one just looks really beautiful. Rado had a really interesting review on this one as well. Getting the discount is always going to make it a little bit more likely that I would like to back it, but I love the way that you can manipulate these meeples and putting different objects, I guess, onto the meeples to advance their abilities. And just the art on this game is incredibly beautiful. And getting the deluxe version with the wooden pieces and then these rubberized kind of plastic armaments and accessories. It's got a great exclusive insert if you get the deluxe version, which is what I did. And so definitely back this one. I'm very excited about it. I think they have another one coming up maybe towards the end of April, but I haven't seen any confirmed details, called Camargue, something like that. Not much that I found on that game yet, other than seeing a little bit of a reference on ShelfClutter's Discord channel. But yeah, lots of beautiful resources here, and just sounds like a really interesting game as well. This is past, so I'm not going to go through how to play and everything, but they will probably have a way to late pledge later. So those are the two that I backed. Now, some that I was following that I didn't choose to back for a variety of reasons. One, for Fire for Light was one that I was excited about, but it canceled. So didn't get to back that one. It sounded interesting, and hopefully it will come back to Kickstarter or Gamefound in the future. Sounds like it would be one that I would definitely be interested in, cooperative narrative-driven hybrid survival dungeon crawl. I don't know that I would have backed it. It seemed like it was going to be a little bit pricey, and the art wasn't really drawing me in. It was more the gameplay that attracted me. So, but it did get canceled. Next up is Pilgrim by Amusement Games. And this is one that, again, I thought it looked really attractive, actually really cool, unique design. Rado had a really interesting take on it with his video review. Your abbots and abbotesses of their provincial 14th century abbey trying to build up routes, trying to become acolytes, giving alms to the poor. And it sounded like an interesting take. There was a Mancala movement mechanism that Rado really liked, and so I was interested in it, but ended up not backing it. Chose to go with Oak instead, and really trying to limit myself pretty much to about one game a month if I can have the discipline. So one that I followed but did not back. Very interested though. Would love to play it in the future. We'll see if I get a chance to down the road. All right, next one, Malhya, Lands of Legends. I was so close to backing this one. This is by La Boîte de Jeu, the makers of Wonderful World, Wonderful Kingdom board games. And this sounds like Gloomhaven, but with a little bit different take on some of the mechanisms and maybe even cleaning up some of the things I'm not as crazy about with Gloomhaven. A little bit more developed manner of upgrading your characters with skills, weapons, and talents in these nice boards. So just a little bit more visual take, I guess, on those upgrades. Sounds very much like Gloomhaven, though, in terms of theme and game style. But yeah, the cost was just too much for what I could afford at this time. And so while it looks beautiful, and I do hope to play it sometime, I'm enjoying Gloomhaven with a game group of mine, just couldn't pull the trigger on this one. I think actually the art on this one is much better than Gloomhaven for my personal taste. And I think, just like I said, these player boards and the way you upgrade, and there's a lot of miniatures in Gloomhaven, but there's also just a lot of standees, and this looks like it's more miniature based, which is cool, and that's also why the cost is so high. So I was very interested in this one, but ended up not backing it just for budgetary reasons. Another one that kind of fell to the same sword was Tamashii Chronicle of Ascend. It was on GameFound by Awaken Realm Light, and really reminded me of In Too Deep in terms of the art and the futuristic kind of setting. Looks really cool with the cyberpunk sort of setting in this futuristic world, and there was just tons and tons of material. But again, you look at this all-in pledges, which is what I would want to do if I could, and we're talking, you know, closing in on $200, and once shipping, it probably is around $200. So just decided, you know what, I'll see if maybe some of my friends are backing this one. I do have one friend who backs just about everything Awaken Realm, so he will probably back this, and then I'll get a chance to play. So I don't know if he did or not, but I just couldn't pull the trigger on it personally, but it was really close. Another one that I was, again, back and forth, was Terraforming Mars, Ares Expedition. And I love Terraforming Mars, but Ares Expedition was just okay for me. And so I thought, you know, maybe these expansions are going to, you know, make it better, maybe raise the level for me with these different advancements and the co-op improvement and the solo improvement. But in the end, I thought, you know, I'm putting more money into a game that I just think is okay. And so decided not to. Who knows, maybe down the road I'll get a chance to play it. Excuse me, one of my friends does really enjoy the Ares Expedition version, so he perhaps backed this one, and if he did, then I'll maybe get a chance to play with him, and then maybe pick up a used copy down the road or a retail copy down the road. So yeah, very interested, but again, because of my lukewarmness on the original Ares Expedition, decided to pass on this one. Tidal Blades, Rise of the Unfolders. Haven't ever played the original, but thought, well, maybe I'll jump in here and see if I could try this one. But this is another one where it just priced me out of the game. Two standalone games. One's more of an RPG. One's more of a traditional board game versus the role-playing type of scenario. Art looks beautiful by Mr. Cuddington's crew. I have a friend who owns Tidal Blades and would like to play that with him sometime with our gaming group. And just haven't had a chance yet, so I didn't want to jump in at the cost of this one, as beautiful as it looks, and I have a feeling it's going to be a really fun game, and I do hope to play it at some point. I'll have to ask my friend if he backed that I actually forgot to ask, so I don't know if he did or not, but yeah, one that I hope to play eventually. Very beautiful, but when I started looking down here, the RPG book I probably wouldn't use, and then the board game itself, $89. Not terrible for everything that comes in it, but just, again, had to choose, decided to go a little bit cheaper with Oak, knowing probably my friend wouldn't be getting Oak, but might be getting this one. So hopefully still get a chance to play this one down the road. All right, another one that I followed was Ryozen. This was on Kickstarter, and you can late pledge now. So I'll have links to all of these down below, as I typically do in these videos. And the Essential Edition was $39, pretty inexpensive. But as I watched the gameplays and listened to the game mode, I thought it was interesting for Asian settings. I usually get really drawn into those, but the art on this one just seemed a little underwhelming for me personally. You know, here at Rado said it looks stunning. So, but for me, as I looked at the videos and looked at the pictures, it looks nice, but it didn't blow me away. And if I was going to get it, I was going to go for the deluxe edition. And then, you know, now we're talking at, you know, much higher, we're up over 75, 80 bucks or so. And then you got to factor in shipping. So, yeah, after watching more videos and looking at it, I decided again, I picked Oak over this one. It was a close call because this one does look cool and the prices weren't too different. Pretty close, but decided to go with this one instead. All right, now the ones that I'm still taking a look at for April, and this one only has a little over 2 days to go, and this is Saturday the 9th, so by Monday, if you haven't backed this one yet, that you'll want to. I probably won't back this one again just for the cost investment. I haven't played Dinosaur Island or Dinosaur World. I had a friend gift me Dinosaur Island with the Liquid something expansion. I forget the exact name of the expansion. And I like the dinosaur idea okay, but legacy games, I just have a harder time getting them to the table and really playing them through. We've really only ever done one legacy game, and that was Pandemic Season 0. And did enjoy it, but towards the end I was getting a little tired. Even though I did enjoy it, it sort of wore on me a little bit. And so the legacy aspect, thought, I don't know. I have enough legacy games right now that I haven't played. I'm not sure I want to add another one. So looks great, but again, when I look at the cost, we're talking $120 for that plus shipping. Just didn't see like that was a good investment for me and my family at this time. So a lot of people are backing it though. They're having good success, although not as much as I thought they would. I mean, half $500,000 probably before it's all said and done, but I thought this would be a $1 million one myself, but we'll see. And then next one I'm taking a peek at, 3 More Days, Darkest Doom. I think the theme might be a little bit too dark for my family. It looks pretty cool, sounds pretty interesting. Shay Parker had a good review that I watched, and several people are saying this fantasy game is a lot of fun, unique gameplay. Honestly, I probably wouldn't have actually taken a look at this one except for the videos that I've seen talking about it. Just the theme doesn't really resonate with me, but a competitive strategy game with RPG elements, 1 to 4 players, great miniatures, really cool art. But again, this is one of those where the price is going to be pretty high for a game I'm just kind of interested in. So I have been keeping an eye on it, but I don't think I'll probably end up backing this one either. Fortunately, they are, doing well past their goal, and kind of a lesser known game compared to some of the other ones from Game Start here. So one that I've had my eye on, but probably won't end up backing. Next up is Okko Chronicles, another one where I probably wouldn't even looked. I mean, yeah, like I said, a lot of times if it's got an Asian setting, Asian theme, for some reason, I guess because of living in Asia for so long earlier in my life, I am drawn to that. But this one, just more of a battling game, didn't really appeal to me too much. But I heard so many people again saying what a great game it was. And so I said, well, I'll check it out. I'll read this through, watch some videos. But again, this is, over $150 to get the set, and you can go even further if you want to get everything. So yeah, just not going to be able to afford this kind of investment, and especially when I think probably the battling type of gameplay isn't really what would go over big in my family. I mean, I could play it solo, but as much as I feel like I want to be a solo gamer, what I found is if I'm going to play a game solo, I typically play something really simple like Rolling Realms, where I play something on BGA or on Steam. I don't typically pull out a whole board game. So just something I probably wouldn't get to. Another one that 4 days to go that's been interesting, a lot of people talking about it, is the Teburu. This Bad Karmas game is what comes with it. And the Teburu is like a console for board games. So it tracks your movements, it tracks the dice rolls, it tracks what's going on in the game as a console, so that your board game is this surface that's tracking everything you do. Don't know exactly how the technology works to make it fit. The technology sounds really interesting, and I think if they had a game that I was interested in, I might have been more drawn to this. I definitely want to check it out, because the idea of having this sort of interactive, sensorized board, that was pretty cool. But I'm not really interested in the Bad Karmas theme or gameplay, so definitely don't think I'll be backing it, but I will be keeping my eye out for the whole Teburu system, see if they bring out other games in the future. So yeah, just the Bad Karmas theme. I wish they would have picked something that I was a little more drawn to, but probably a lot of people are drawn to this one. Just doesn't happen to fit my particular tastes. But it is an expensive endeavor. You've got the Believer Pledge and the Core Pledge. So if you just want the kit, you can go for this over $100, but with no game. And then here you can get the game, but then we're closing in on $200, and then the Saga Pledge, you can get all the stuff. And then we're over $300, and then you can go even higher if you want multiple copies. But probably not one I'll back, but one I definitely checked out. Encyclopedia, this one is by Holy Grail Games, and Alex from BoardGameCo has just been over the moon with this game. Looking at the art, just okay. So the theme, though, dice placement, I really like dice placement. So, or mechanism, that's not the theme, the mechanism. The theme of exploring these islands and, learning about these animals to create your encyclopedia. That sounds kind of intriguing, and I like animal-themed games like this, particularly if it's actual animals, not anthropomorphic. That's not as much for me. But yeah, Alex here, this is a game that just feels rewarding at every turn. I am multiple plays deep into this, and I'm not even remotely bored yet. So yeah, just basically considering this one because I like dice placement, dice worker placement, and dice manipulation, and it looks nice, and Alex is, really in love with it. This game has left me wanting to play again from Quackalope. So definitely keep my eye on this one. It's also not incredibly expensive. As you see here, 49 euros for the Scholar Pledge. Gets up to 79 if you want the Naturalist Pledge with a few more features here. I don't think I really need the sleeves. I usually get my sleeves from Sleeve Kings, but the core game here, not too bad. So definitely keep my eye on this one. Probably watch a few more videos. There's 4 days left before this one finishes up. And so definitely going to keep my eye on here. Rado says, I love it, I love it, I love it. This is exactly the kind of thing that really pushes my wife and my buttons in terms of Euro games. So yeah, definitely keep my eye on this in a few more days to make a call. Haven't backed anything in April yet, but there's a bunch coming that I'm pretty interested in. So we'll see. Maybe it's a maybe. And now we go to Age of Rome. This one, when I first saw the cover, I didn't think I would look into it, but then a lot of people have been talking about how much they love it. I've seen bunches of videos on it, and the whole revolving board thing sounds pretty cool. So definitely thought, well, I'm going to check this out and learn more about it. And again, we've got 5 days to go on this one. Looks really pretty. The cover doesn't draw me in as much, but the board looks nice. I thought it was going to be just like a war game or something from the cover and the title, but it's much more of a worker placement resource management game, it sounds like. So Alex says there's something satisfying about the progression in Age of Rome, watching everything grow, and you try to take advantage for your personal gain. But this spinning board is a unique idea, kind of that Sulcan Mayan calendar thing with a revolving thing. We've got player boards here that are going to be double layered. And yeah, it looks interesting. Trading, monitoring religion and schemes. Brian from Game Brigade says it's a delightful experience that he keeps wanting to come back to again and again. So yeah, interested in this one. It's also one that I'm keeping my eye on. If we look at the pledge levels here, it's $76 for the Senator pledge, and it's $108 for the all-in. And then if you want the Triumviratum pledge, you can get multiple copies and so on if you want different copies and different other add-ons. But keep my eye on this one. Maybe, I would say between the two, probably leaning a little more towards Encyclopedia, but they've kind of both scratching that same itch in terms of drawing my attention. And then Mercurial. I actually planned on backing this one. It seemed like a game that I would enjoy. It is really just a card game, and so I was a little bit unsure if it was going to have enough with just the card play, but as I watched a lot of videos, it actually started really drawing me in. And Rados, this game is so much more rich and intricate than what I've seen. Pulled me in. It feels thematic. William from Hungry Gamer, also excited about it. Stella from Meeple University. Lots of gameplay, lots of review thoughts, preview thoughts that I checked out and was pretty much planning on backing this one. And then actually found out from ShelfClutter, I won one of his contests by just commenting on one of his videos. So this is what I won. So I'm going to have a pledge of this one coming, and I don't have to buy it. So that's kind of nice. So another reason you should check out ShelfClutter. Link down below. But yeah, this one with the dice and the cards, I just thought looks really cool. And I think I'm going to enjoy it. So I'm really glad that I was able to win that. And now I've got maybe a little bit of money to buy something else instead, because this was probably going to take the cake this month. But now I'm going to get it for free, fortunately. So lucky me. All right. Next up, Kingdoms Rise and Fall Dorian. This one is 11 days to go. This is by, let's see, who is this by? Just says Kingdom Rise and Fall Dorian. Bowie Derwot. Whoops. So yeah, this is a game that as I've been kind of following along, it looks really pretty, but as I've learned more about it, and seems kind of a more battling game. I think also the player count, if I remember correctly, it's a 3 and up, which is harder for me. Oh, I guess it does say a 2-player, so I must have been thinking of another one. It looks really pretty, but it is kind of expensive, and it more of that head-to-head kind of style of play. I don't think my wife would really be into this one too much. So with the cost and the style of play, as beautiful as it is to me, I've heard some people say they don't think this one's very attractive, but wow, to me, the cover, a lot of people just said they didn't draw them in. That cover just is striking to me. Something about that burgundy color, and all the components look really incredible. The map looks good. So yeah, I was definitely drawn into this one, but yeah, like I said, the more I learned about gameplay, not sure it would be one that my wife would be too interested in. So I don't think we would get a lot of gameplay out of it. And so with the cost being what it is and the style of game, I doubt if I'll be pursuing this one, but definitely caught my attention. I was anticipating it for a while, and then when I learned more about the game, I thought, as cool as it looks to me, don't think gameplay is going to probably be a best fit. So pretty interesting. If you like that kind of gameplay, check it out. Now, Maul Peak, we've got this one at 16 days to go, and this is like a standalone sort of upgrade from Skulk Hollow. I've never played Skulk Hollow, but this is one that is head-to-head. So again, not something I'm too interested in, but I guess if you combine it with Skulk Hollow, you can play with 4 players. And so, yeah, I'd love to try this one. I'm pretty unlikely that I'll back it. The art is just okay for me. The style of gameplay is just okay. But when I heard about the ability to combo the two, I thought, well, let me check it out. So I have been kind of reading it slowly. It's still fairly new on Kickstarter, so I haven't had a chance to really read through everything, and have only checked out one video so far. So the video did look intriguing, though. It actually drew me in more than I thought in terms of gameplay. And so, yeah, I definitely going to keep my eye on this one a couple more weeks to consider it. And these are really cool pieces there. The deluxe version is, I think, definitely going to be an interesting opportunity. And quite a few reviews that I can take a look at, just haven't had a chance to see. I think I've seen 1 or 2 so far is all. Pretty cool epic meeples. And then here's some information about Skulk Hollow. If we look at the shipping down here, it says estimated shipping charges. So zone 1 for where I'm at with continental US is 15. If you get the pair, then it's 22. And if we look at the pledge levels, you can get Maul Peak for 45. And that's with the single player adventure and the Ancient Relics mini expansion. And then if you go up to 90, you can get both games with those same things, as well as the Ancient Relics mini, the Skulk Hollow Ancient Relics mini expansion as well. So you can get that 2 copies of Maul Peak as well. So a couple options there. If I were going to go for this one, probably would get this so I have both games and could play with 4 players. But I'm going to ask around with my friends, see if I can find anyone who has it, maybe try it out. Got a couple weeks to try to get to the bottom of this one. But interested. Going to keep checking it out. It's probably not, but maybe. And then here's Aldarra. When I first saw this one was coming, I thought, ooh, boy, this one looks beautiful. And it does. I've watched a couple videos, though, and again, the gameplay is just, I think it's going to be hard to get to the table. And I have to be more picky with the budget. And so I'm just, if I am not sure that it's one that we're going to be able to play a lot, if it's going to be hard to get to the table, then it's kind of falling to the bottom. And this is such a big game, such an expansive game with 4X kind of style of play. And my wife's not really into 4X either, so I would have to find other people to play with, and it looks like it's going to be kind of a beast to set up, possibly. Lots of details. Looks gorgeous. I hope to play this someday. But because of all of those things, I don't expect to back this. It is incredible, though. Like, the miniatures and the components of this are just insane. And so it's one of those, like, I would love to have it. I'd love to have it on my shelf. I'd love to play it. But I just can see it being a really expensive space holder on my shelf. And so because I'm concerned about that, I just don't think I can pull the trigger. If we do look, in case you're interested, if this is the kind of game and you've got the budget for this, I'll show you a little bit here about the pledges. You can get, if you just want the STL files, it's pretty inexpensive. If you want the base game, $135. If you want the all-in, $235. And so, yeah, it looks incredible. And I don't know anybody right now that's getting this one, but yeah, I imagine someone in our game group along the way will have it. And so I'm hoping to play it someday, but just couldn't go for this kind of cost with the kind of game it is. As much as I think I would enjoy it, I just think it'd not get enough gameplay to make it worth the investment for my family. So, all right, next up, Legacy of Thracks. And this one I don't know very much about. Hearing the title didn't draw me in at all. But then when I started hearing people say it was kind of like the Ameritrash game mixed with Euro resource management, okay, well, you got me interested now. And so I watched a video. I watched this one here from the Dice Tower with, I think his name is Mark, giving some information. And it sounded interesting. I want to watch a few more videos. It says it's epic, asymmetric, competitive fantasy strategy board game, mixing that Amerithrash and Euro mechanisms. And so I'm interested. Definitely want to learn more about it, but I just haven't had a chance yet to watch any of the videos or check it out. Still a couple of weeks, more than a couple of weeks away before I have to make a decision on this one, but this just caught my eye in the last couple days, so thought I'd throw it out there in case it's something that interests you as well. They keep emphasizing this hybrid game, tough tactical and strategic decisions, infinite replayability due to high interaction. 5 game modes, basic, clan, shadow, solo, and cooperative. The cooperative also, hearing that in one of the videos, I remember also was like, well, okay, my wife might not be into the head-to-head competitive part, but maybe the cooperative would intrigue her more. So definitely look at this. They're unlocking, some of the stretch goals here. Got a lot more to unlock down the road, but like I said, it's a pretty new one. So I need to take the time to watch a couple of these videos and check out a little bit more detail here. Let's see if we can scroll down here, and there's a few images here you can check out with our heroes and their boards and their components. We do want to get to the pledge levels here so we can start thinking about that. So base edition, $79. 3 differences between the base and the Kickstarter Deluxe. Wooden relics cubes instead of 3D custom relics. Wooden cylinders instead of 3D custom flags. And then third, doesn't include the Kickstarter stretch goals. So this would be kind of plastic instead of wooden, and not including the stretch goals. And so you could add some things on here to that, but if you want the all-in, it's $107. This would have all the stretch goals plus everything with those wooden features instead of the plastic. So got a storybook that goes along with it. I do remember hearing about that as well in the video I watched. That's kind of interesting. It's not required for gameplay, but interesting to have a story so you have more of the theme and lore fleshed out for you. So yeah, that's what this game is, and one that I'm curious about, Legacy of Thracks, The Awakening. Keep an eye on it. Almost 3 weeks still to consider it. All right, next up, Maglev Metro, the Mechs, Monorails, and More Maps, Expansion Volume 1. This one's also a recent start, more than 3 weeks to go on this one. And I have not played Maglev Metro, and to be honest, it doesn't really appeal to me. But everybody I've talked to that's played it has really enjoyed it. And one of my friends just recently played it at Dice Tower West and loved it. I think he might have even ordered it. So yeah, I would like to play Maglev Metro. I like the idea of the clear tiles and how they stack, but I don't know, I think I'm just a little bit tired of train and route building games, and so it just hasn't really drawn me in. But as much as people have loved this one, Thinker Themer talked a lot about the original game as well, how much they enjoyed it. So I think I want to definitely try it, and then after I've tried the base game, decide how much I enjoy it, and then come back to this and see, okay, if I do enjoy it, am I interested in this expansion? But having not played the base game, I'm not willing to go after this yet. So I definitely want to play the base game first. If you've played the base game, let me know. Give some comments down below. Tell me what you love about it. If we look at the shipping down here for the single expansion, it's $18 to the US, $21 for the Volume 1 maps, and altogether $32. That's kind of a heavy shipping. So yeah, that's something to consider. If we look over here at the costs, if you just want the expansion, $30 this is the Mechs and Monorails expansion. And then if you want the Moon Bases and Mars expansion, another $30. If you want the London and Paris expansion, another $30. If you want the maps, $80. And then Maglev Metro and Maglev Maps together, $120. So all 3 expansions in a luxury box, $104. So definitely the best way to go is to get down here for these bigger investments. If you want to have everything, a box set of all 3 expansions, 104 screen printed passengers, and in addition to a copy of the base game. So $120 for all of that. That's actually a pretty good price, I think. I mean, it's expensive. It's one game for over $100, but with all 3 expansions, that's a pretty good investment if it's a game you really enjoy, and it's a game you'll play a lot. So this is just something I don't know about. Funded very rapidly, but it did have a very low funding goal. And so we'll see how it goes over the next 3 weeks and see if I can find someone who has it, and so I can try the base game and see how much I like it. Maybe it'll blow me away. Maybe it'll be something that, while it hasn't drawn me in initially, it might maybe something I'll love a lot more. Azul was kind of like that, although I never really fell in love with Azul. I never had any desire to play Azul, and then after I played, it's like, yeah, it's not actually too bad. I eventually did trade it away, so it wasn't one that I loved, but I could see this one. I have some interest, just not sure. So we'll see. Maybe, hopefully I'll get a chance to play. All right, now we get into the preview section. So these are games that are coming soon. Last Light, this is going to be produced by Gray Fox Games, and it's on GameFound. And so this is just a preview page here. It's a fast-paced 4X game with 3D planets. And I think Roy from Dice Tower is involved in the design of this game, if I'm not mistaken. And the thing that people keep talking about is it's a 4X game with all those features of a 4X, but plays in an hour. Okay, and so that's kind of the catch on this one. We can see some of the art here. So again, links down below for all of these. Curious to learn more about this one. It actually launches in just a little over 2 days. Coming on GameFound. Next up, one that I'm looking forward to is the Great Wall reprint. Now, one of my friends has Great Wall. I think he might have the retail edition. I don't know if he has all the expansions. I think it might just be the base game. I really do want to try his copy and then decide if this is something I may want to go in after. It sounds like the kind of game that I would like. Tower defense, worker placement, co-op, competitive, solo, that flexibility. And the people that have played it that I've talked to and most of the videos that I've watched, really impressed, not with the rule book, but with the gameplay. So with this being a reprint, I'm hoping that, you know, those issues with the rule book will be cleaned up. Any other production issues that might not have been great the first time around, I think they might be making some slight changes there. And then it has all the expansions and stuff, it looks like. So definitely intrigued with this one. One of my top games of all time is After the Empire, also a Gray Fox Games game. And this one is Awaken Realms, but that tower defense, worker placement combo, I love that about After the Empire, and that's what's intriguing me about Great Wall. Can't wait to hopefully play my friend's copy soon so that I can decide if this is something I want to go after. It starts in a little over 4 days. Next up, another one, and this is one that I'm quite certain I'll be interested in. I have really enjoyed Sleeping Gods, and it's one that's on our 10x10 legacy/campaign games that my wife and I are trying to play in the year of 2022. Sleeping Gods, we've already put 20 plus hours into it, and for this game, that's not that much. So this summer, we're actually hoping to get through quite a bit more. I'm not sure. We might actually have to do it after the summer because we'll be traveling a lot, but this is the standalone expansion where you're flying now instead of on the boat, and it sounds like some of the things that people didn't appreciate about Sleeping Gods have been cleaned up. Not so many characters to manage. The battle is a little bit less convoluted, although I really liked the battling in Sleeping Gods. So yeah, I'm very curious to see this one. And you can get this now available in print, Primeval Peril. I did the print and play version of this while I was waiting on Sleeping Gods to come and just played that a little bit. Didn't really get into it. The print and play always just, it doesn't draw me in too much, but I have everything Sleeping Gods. I've got all of this stuff and the expansions, so much that I still need to play with that one. Although I'm sure that even if we back this one in the next month, it's not going to arrive for over a year. So hopefully by then we could get through the rest of Sleeping Gods, but very interested in this. I tend to like Red Raven Games and what Ryan Lockett produces with his crew, his wife and others. Mostly just the two of them, though. That's amazing what they put together. So definitely very excited about this one. And so again, some of these other ones that I'm considering back here, when I start thinking about, I don't know, about this Last Light sounds pretty good, and this Great Wall, once I get a chance to play that, that sounds really good. And then this one, even more. So some of these are saying maybe I shouldn't back the other ones that I'm just sort of excited about when these are really getting me pretty excited, and also coming in April. Next up, Paradox Initiative. And this is one that I think back in like November of 2021, I was saying, this is one of my highly anticipated Kickstarters. It just kept getting pushed down the road and pushed down the road. It is supposed to launch April 12th. We'll see. It's Elf Creek Games. The big thing about this one is that they've taken art from like 20 different board game artists and they're putting it all together. This is sort of a reboot of a game from a while back. I think the original creator is in this reboot, involved in this reboot. So I'm definitely curious to see more about this game when more information comes out. I've watched a couple videos a while back, and honestly, after I saw the videos, I was a little less intrigued, and because it's kind of been taking so long to come out, I've kind of lost a little interest, but we'll definitely check it out, and it's supposed to launch April 12th. I'll cross our fingers and hope it happens. Next up, The Dark Quarter by Lucky Duck Games. I have really enjoyed a lot of Lucky Duck games. We love Destinies. We like Chronicles of Crime. And so there's several games that I enjoy from them. This one is, I think the theme maybe not as interesting for us. It's more of a horror theme, Dark Quarter of 1980s New Orleans. Definitely want to know more about it, though. Cooperative narrative game exploring, so sounds fun. The cooperative side, that's the one thing about Destinies. I kind of wish I had a cooperative mode. The competitive mode's fine, and I really like the way the game works, and I like the app integration. But this one, in fact, that's another one that's on our 10x10 game for this summer, this year. So very excited to continue to get back to that. But yeah, so I'm curious about this one, but not quite as excited as I am for some of those, the Great Wall and Sleeping Gods new version. This one I just heard about yesterday or today, and this is Damask by Radical 8 Games, coming out towards the end of April. And I just opened this up. I haven't really even had a chance to learn much about it. It says, spin silk and mount beautiful patterns in this beautiful game by Barbara Burfoot. 1 to 4 players compete to be the best silk weaver by matching damasks to gain coin and impress the fashion taste of the Weavers Guild. Ingenious spinning wheel determines which silk you can gather, as well as the actions of other players, who can help or hinder by sharing their thread. So it sounds interesting. Again, just the preview page here. Launches in a few weeks. And they were saying that Rodney from Watch It Played is really excited about this one. He doesn't say too much usually about games in terms of whether he likes them or not, but it was on the radar video, and someone else mentioned that he was pretty excited about it. So definitely want to look into this one when it arrives in almost 3 weeks on GameFound. Next up, Anunnaki Dawn of the Gods. This is supposed to launch April 26th, so also towards the end. 4X hybrid Euro game. So again, one of that trying to cross the line or merge the line or sort of blur the line maybe between Mera-Thrash and Euro style games. So I'm curious to see more about this when this one comes out. Develop your alien civilization among ancient gods and space travel. So definitely want to check this one out by Cranio Creations, launching April 26th. Next one, Dunhuang, Pearl of the Silk Road. I think this one's also supposed to launch right around 26th, 27th of April. And I remember hearing about this months ago as well, and I think it's been kind of pushed off. The Asian theme and the art of this one, from what I've seen, I went to their website for Jing Studio. Art looks incredible. I typically like worker placement games, and this one sounds like it's going to be a more thematically immersive kind of Euro-style game. So curious to see how they do that. And this one launches in a few weeks, so definitely one I'll have my eye on. Another one that I just heard about and just opened up the tab earlier today is Oranienburger Kanal. I'm sure I butchered that, but it's an Uwe Rosenberg game. And I don't know much about it, but this is starting to gain some interest. So you're erecting new industries and shaping the infrastructure by building pathways, streets, railways, and canals. So an Uwe game without sheep and cows and farming. So I'm curious to see how this industrial take will happen for an Uwe Rosenberg game. And this one I've heard is right around, again, that end of April prediction. I don't know if it's going to be GameFound or Kickstarter. Probably Kickstarter, because if it was on GameFound, they would probably already be talking about it. They're pretty good at previewing those games pretty early. So we'll see when and where this one comes. Another one, I think originally it was supposed to be in April. Now I'm hearing it might get pushed, and that is Wayfarers of the South Tigris. It is a Garfield Games game by Shem Phillips and Sam McDonald. And I have been okay with most Garfield games. I like all of them that I've played, but I haven't loved any of them except for Hadrian's Wall. Hadrian's Wall really hit a good spot for me. The rest have just been good. And I haven't played that many, I have to admit. I did just recently pick up Raiders of Scythia because I hadn't played any of the North Sea games yet. And so I was curious to try that and was able to obtain that from a friend, so I'm going to try that here soon. I've liked all of them, but not enough to want to keep coming back over and over and over. After 5 or 6 plays, I just felt like I'd enjoyed enough and was ready to move on to something new. So they didn't quite connect with me in the way that I know a lot of people really love them. This, though, has that dice manipulation, dice worker placement kind of an idea from what I've heard. Different setting. So I'm curious to learn more about this. Some of my friends from All Aboard Gamer, they did an unboxing recently. It looked really cool. They're going to have a playthrough and a review, I'm sure, pretty soon. So I'm very excited to hear what they think about this game, as well as others that I know have preview copies. And so looking forward to this one coming, I think, to Kickstarter in the near future. Next up, Castles by the Sea, and this one I think might be May. I heard both kind of end of April, early May, by Brotherwise Games. I don't know too much about it. Sandcastle building game, though, just sounds intriguing. Some of the Brotherwise games that I've tried have been really enjoyable for me. So the art here looks, pretty and whimsical. So I'm definitely excited to learn more about this one. Just don't know for sure when this one's coming. Kind of like Wayfarers and this, however you say this, Oranienburger. Don't know exactly when those are coming out, but in the next month probably. And then we've got Tainted Grail, Kings of Ruin. I don't know when this is going to come, but this one everybody's been talking about. It was just announced by GameFound this week. I have not played Tainted Grail, but I have a friend who's going through it and I think pretty close to ending their campaign. And so he said he could let me borrow it and try a couple scenarios and see if I enjoy it. And if I do, then maybe check out this one when it launches. The theme of Tainted Grail, that Arthurian legend, I think is drawing me in. I love Arthurian legend. The darkness of it and the sort of evil, I guess, in the theming of it might turn my wife off, so I don't know. I really am excited that my friend has the base original, so I can try it out and see if it is one that she would like. This is a standalone adventure, so I think having played the original, you'd probably get some more of the storyline and maybe enjoy some things that you might not if you haven't, but still excited to know more about this one. Just don't know exactly when it's going to launch, but I was excited enough, I just thought I'm going to mention it now. It was just announced this week. And then another one that I'm very excited about, I haven't actually played Castles of Burgundy. I've been so close to buying a copy of it multiple times. And then I saw, okay, GameFounder, who recently partnered with Ravensburger, is going to produce one of their spectacular blinged out versions. And from what I've seen of the versions that are out there, there's a lot of people that complain about both versions for a variety of different reasons in terms of the appearance, not the gameplay. There's a bunch of people that love it. Some of my friends, it's one of their favorite games of all time. And I have multiple friends with this game, so I just need to get with them and play the base game, the original version, to see if it's something that I love as much as some of my friends, or if it's just something that's okay for me. And then I'll be deciding, I'm guessing this might be May. I don't know for sure when that one will be coming. But I am a sucker for those blinged out games, and this is going to have all kinds of stretch goals probably. So yeah, if I do love the game, then I will probably be checking this one out pretty closely. I know one of my friends, it's one of his all-time favorite. It'll be an insta-back for him. So if I'm sort of on the fence, I'll just wait and play his version. But yeah, so there we have it. Those are the games that I have backed, have been considering, and am looking forward to on Kickstarter and Gamefound. So hopefully that trip through the internet and over Kickstarter and Gamefound was interesting for you to learn about maybe some games that have either passed or are on those sites right now, or even looking forward to them in the future. So you can check them out. Again, links down below for all of them. If you have comments about any of these, some that you backed, I'd love to hear what you backed and why. I also am curious what you're looking forward to. I didn't mention all the games I've heard about, just the ones I'm most interested in. So there are dozens of others that I've checked out. These are the ones that I've actually thought about seriously enough, like maybe this is one I would want to back. So even if I sounded kind of negative on something in this video, keep in mind that all of these drew my attention enough that I was at least considering them. There's a whole bunch more that didn't even draw my attention in to share on this video. So, and that's just personal taste. We all have our own tastes and preferences in board gaming. But if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. And it would be terrific if you would subscribe to the channel as well. If you have questions for me, or like I said, you want to share your interests in these two platforms, GameFound and Kickstarter, and board games, go ahead and leave those comments down below. As always, thanks for watching. This is Billy, Indiana, signing off.